Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Baking for Business. I'm Jojo Lydia, director and cake artist, Little Hands Bakehouse, located in Nakuru, Ngata. We're in Kenya. And on this channel, we're going to talk about cake business, entrepreneurship. We're going to have story time. We'll be sharing tips and hacks, and we'll be answering to the many questions that we receive them in our DMs. And on today's topic, cake photography. Cake photography is very dynamic, and we're not going into details of how you're going to click your pictures, the dynamics of how to handle a camera, but you're going to be on the other side of what you need to do when you're coming to display your cakes. Now, just to take you back a little bit, when you're taking the client's order, from the start of the process, when you're taking the client's orders, even before you reach to the point that you're getting the money, you just have to do a research. You take your time to do the research, to share options to the client, to give options of everything. It boils down to taking the cake orders to the point that you receive the down payment. It goes to baking. It goes to the point that you're letting your cakes to cool, you're covering them, you're decorating. It's a whole process. And each and every process there takes time. The only time that is always forgotten is to really put the time separate to click the pictures of your cake. By the time you're ordering a cake, to the point that the cake is delivered, when you combine all that time, it can even take up to maybe 8 hours, depending on the complexity of the cakes. Clicking that image can maybe even take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but it's the most forgotten slot when it comes to the business of baking, caking your way through the photography. Because as it is, I can say maybe when you're starting the business, a client will come to ask you, what is it? Can I see your work? They are just convinced with kind of work you've produced, even for them to have that interest and confidence in you to give you the business. All they need to see is the cake that you've produced. But you're forgetting all that point, because most of the businesses we get from what the client visualize. You see, if that is the biggest part of all this, you're supposed to dedicate a time to click the pictures of your cake. Now we're talking about the business behind the cakes. We've left alone the baking, we've done away with the decor, but now the business part of it is to sell your product. What are you going to sell? At least that's why you're going to have the photo of that you've produced, you've created. This is what is helping us to sell, just the photo of your work. Now, we have lots of do's and don'ts when it comes to clicking pictures of your cakes, and I'm going to expound much. Now look at yourself, see how you're producing your work, and then see what you can adopt. Because as it is, also the photography of your cake work, it's also a brand on its own. That's why you see many of the bakers, when you just see a cake, even without the logo, you are able to tell whose cake it is, even from where the cake is taken the photo. The angles, the color of the background, everything. We have bakers who uses a lot of props in their cakes. If it's a banana bread, you have a banana bread there, and just by the side of it, you have the bread itself. Those are props. And when you're using a props when it comes to a cake, they just have to go in hand with the cake. When you're doing a carrot cake, if it has raisins, now your props there will be the carrots and the raisins just by the sides. Those are what we call props. Not all bakers go that way. And you see, this is the identity of such baker. This is a brand. When you see a cake with prop, you're able to tell which baker is this one. So when it comes to cake photography, even the way the cake looks, without having a logo, you're able to tell this is Jojo Lydia's cake. this is Little Hans Baker's cake. This is so and so cakes. Simply because that's the identity born. We have the background, you're just sticking to that. So those are the pointers and the benefits of what you need to use and what you need to do when you're branding yourself. Those are part of the brands. Something else I would like to point out also. There are some bakers you find, there's nothing like wrong or right. But when it comes to the background, you find today the background is orange, tomorrow the background is yellow, the other time the background is green. So we can't identify that baker clearly when it comes to the cake. So all these things put together brings about the identity of that caker. So as you're continuing, have that in mind. Also something else when it comes to background, in the school part of it, they always recommend a white background. White background is very soft. It tends to bring your cake out very clearly, but it's not said it's the only one you can use. You can also see in our cakes we have a black background. So in cases that you have light cakes in terms of the white, you find it comes out very well in black. So you have the options of using black or white. There's nothing wrong or right. But just tend to have it in your mind when you're having a very bright cake, you can always come down with a dark background. When you're having a dark cake, again, nothing will be visible when you're using a black background. Now that's another point to look for. Tend to, something else when I talk about the background, we also have, let's say the backdrop that we're using, that's what you're seeing in so many bakers. It's allowed to use whatever kind you have. There are backdrops which are sold, and like in terms of, let's say the concrete, the tiles, you can get the big ones, just get the down one and the behind part of it. And that's, you have your studio just to start the process when you're starting the business. As you're progressing, the cake tends to be big to the point that that space cannot help you. We also have the other box, the white box, I don't know the name. They are there. We used to buy them from Easy Bake. You can see it can only accommodate short cakes. Like you have a 2-tiered cake, you can't use the box. So, but the good thing, the background is just white, the sides are white, it has the lighting, you just put on the, you plug it in the electricity, and that's it. So you have options of all that. But in other cases, when you don't have that, now that's when it comes to the don'ts. Now our don'ts begins there. When you're using the backdrop, we can always have canvas, we can always have just the leather. You just buy a size of a leather, just put it in a sofa, or sorry, in a seat that you can have the back of it. Cover it very well and click that image. We find many using fabrics. The ones who are going the fabric ways, the ones who are going the bedsheet ways. First, the bedsheets are not hygiene, because someone in their mind will not know it's a bedsheet that was cleaned specifically for the cake. And in any case, you're going the fabric way. Make sure you just iron them. Don't click a picture in a creased background. It tells a lot about you. It tells how unkempt you can be. It tells how you can't manage your time. You can't plan yourself well to the point that you don't have time to iron when the cake is almost going. So you just click for the cake to go. So when you're working with the fabric part of the backdrop, please just iron them. Don't click images of the backgrounds which are not ironed. Something else we always see, cakes. You're clicking cakes on sofa sets. It's very unhygienic. As much as you crop it, you can always tell that's a seat. These are seats where people sleep, where people sit, where you stretch your legs, to the point that you're putting your cakes there and clicking the image. Clients, as much as we can see from the outside, clients always also see them. So you might lose some because of that. Some are very sensitive when it comes to hygiene. So don't click your pictures, your cake pictures on couches and sofas. I can't stress much on that, but just don't. Something else, when you're working on the, we're talking about bakers here. By the time you're finishing your cake to the point that it's getting out, the workspace is too overcrowded, it's so dirty, everything is up and down. So when you need to click a picture in that setup, just make sure you clean everything out. Don't click an image to the point that we see the background there, we see your Kimbo. We know as bakers we use Kimbo, but our Kimbo maybe we use in fondant. But a client will not know that Kimbo went to fondant. They might even assume you're baking the cake with the Kimbo. So just don't give that room for all that. Clear your space. Make sure you have a clean space to click the picture. Another don't click pictures inside the cake boxes. It tells a lot. You didn't even plan for that cake. You did all the time of taking the orders, baking and all that, but you didn't slot a time to click the image of those cakes. So take your time. Don't click your cakes inside the boxes. By the time your cake is out is when you're like, I didn't click an image. It tells a lot just by the look of cakes in the boxes. So take your time, invest your time in your time, plan so much so that you can have slotted time for that. Another don't, we find especially new bakers. I was at a cake conference hosted by Cake Hops, and my main focus as a guest speaker was on the cake photography. So for those ones who came, you can see the difference when it comes to cake photography now in the industry. Some are just like aligned to what it's supposed to be. For the newbies, maybe who are not there, now this is what we're talking about. Those don'ts, what we said not to do. We've seen a very massive change when it comes to bakers and their photography, and you can see, and you can even attest in your baking, it has escalated even more into your sale. Because now, we are home bakers, like we say. We have pets, we have dogs, we have cats and all that. Like for me personally, Jojo Lydia, we have dogs. We have 2 beautiful dogs. Those are our girls here. You just spend time with them, but you will not see any of our cakes with the dogs. So you find other bakers, they click the picture, maybe in the living room, the cat is showing somewhere. You're targeting clients. Clients, most of them, like any other person, they have allergies. You find clients who have allergies for the furs and all that. As long as they've seen that cat and dog beside their cake, they will not buy from you. Just in the head, because the fur might be in the cake and all that. Those maybe. So just don't focus on that. We see other bakers, the cakes are just put on the tables, but you can see the whole of your living room, the seats are there. Now, this is what we were having a discussion with some clients, and you're like, you're telling me your cake, 1 kg cake is 5,000. And when you're clicking an image, you find a sofa set not even equivalent to 5,000. Don't give a client room to judge you for what they are seeing aside. Your business with the client is the cake. So leave other external, whatever is there. Another don't when it comes to the cake photography, I'll not insist this much. I've been talking about it for a very long time. You find there are some other bakers, we see their cakes. The cakes pictures are clicked on flower beds. This is also a don't because of some obvious reasons. We have clients who are allergic to pollens, just like any other person. So as long as I've seen the cake on a flower bed, which is prone to pollens, that client will not buy from you, because that's how you do your job. All my cakes, even if I buy from you, the pictures will be clicked there and all that. And there's no way you're going to convince the client because you're allergic to pollen, I'm not going to click your cake there. They don't even give you that time for explanation. Simply they won't come to you, right? So just work on that. Get a seat, so long as it has a back and that sitting position, just cover it up. Let your cake be there. As you're progressing, you will buy the tripod and all that. so that you can create your own studio to have all that cake that all those cakes that you need. Something else we see that it's a don't click your cake images on your hand like this. The cake is here, we see your hand, and that's the image. Those are the images we find in your portfolio. They say a lot about you. Like, mostly you don't plan, you don't have time to do all that. Once in a while you can have that, maybe if you're in an event and all that, you just want to showcase that, but it should not be all of your cakes. That's how you click them. Focus on that. Just like all I can see in all this with the don'ts is just like timings. You don't plan for it, so create time for that. Like we say, when a cake is good, a beautiful cake will attract the client, and definitely a client will buy a beautiful cake because of how it is. But you also need this client to buy a beautiful cake and to come next time. So that the second part is when your cake inside is good. So you work on your cake outside to attract the client, and in that case you already know your inside is good to keep this client even coming back again. If the client comes to you and saw a beautiful cake and all that, blah, 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 this cake, they are buying because of the beauty. After they've eaten and they like the cake is when they come back to you. So a beautiful cake, a good cake, and to top the third on that, an awesome customer experience. You create a loyal client, and this one, they will just patronize you at any given point. Now again, just as we are talking on the do's and the don'ts, when you're clicking the image, we're looking at an angle. So let's say this is the cake. We are assuming this is the cake. Click the front of the cake. Let it be visible. Let a client see this is a 2-tiered cake, this is a 3-tiered cake. Let every detail be showing, if it's your name on the cake board and all that. Don't click the side of a cake and let it be there. If you want to have a side of the cake, if you want to click a cake from top, let it not be the only images that you have. If you want to go that direction, you can have many cakes, many photos of that cakes, the front, the side, from up, but don't just have a cake from up to the point that the client will have questions. Can I see the cake in the front? Can I see the back? Don't give room for that. You're selling your cake. This is what you're selling. It's the cake. Let the cake as it looks sell on its own. The client will be able to see it's a 1-tiered. The topper is like this. This is the size. Just make it easier for the client to come to you instead of giving you room to ask many questions before they can even confirm an order when it comes to you. Another thing, you don't have to invest in big gadgets for you to be able to click like good pictures. As long as you have a phone that can click an image, that's it. Just use your camera. You can get some apps that will help you enlighten and all that. And just make sure you click an image when you have a natural light. So for the natural light, you have to be working on your cakes to the point that you click the images during the day when the natural light is there. So as you progress, you go the camera way. As many of you know, I love my camera. All our cake images are from the cameras. I'm the photographer behind the cakes. We work hand in hand with someone, Glenn, Nana, and he always takes our photos, especially on wedding cakes. That's why you see me posing on the cakes, and I'm on the cakes, so it means it's not me who clicked the images. So that's when Nana comes in. But in all the cakes that you see, that's where the photography comes in, and I'm the photographer when it comes to all our cakes. We edit here and there just to have all that we need. We don't have issues with night photography. We have sources of the lights, because at times when you're doing the wedding cake, you're forced to stretch in the night. The cake have to leave in the morning. So we have to, at times you're forced to have photography taken in the night. We have the speed light that helps us in that. For more of our small details when it comes to the products that you are clicking, you know, we sell other things like graduation caps, the shoes. Those one, when you're coming to products, we have the help of the ring lights just to have the images close to the lightings and all that. So you don't have to start big, just start small. Your camera is good to go. Just have a secluded place for all your cake images. Just the don'ts and the don'ts. Let's see the beautiful cakes out there. Let's see more business. Let's see more clients getting attracted to your cake businesses, and let's grow together. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. If this is all that you need to see more of this, please let us know areas that you want us to discuss. We're going to expound more on this. And please continue sending the questions of all of your cake related issues, and we're going to answer them to you to the best of your knowledge. And see you in the next video. Bye.